And today, once again, I'll be talking to you about kari. And today I'll be talking about another core feature in kari, which is known as kariBegin. So what is kariBegin? Why do I need it? And where to use it? So that's what I'll be clearly explaining to you and helping you understand what kariBegin does. Have you been in a situation whereby you're working in a large project in which you have to initialize like more than 20 pins or 15 pins, and you are working with a board like Arduino Mega and those kind of boards, and in that time you have to initialize all of those pins, and you have to repeat your own self, initializing it using the pin mode function. You have to keep initializing it as output, input, and your code looks so much big inside the setup function. And that is what kariBegin comes to solve. Using kariBegin, you just have to write one line of code, just one function, and one function can be able to initialize your pins, no matter the number of pins they are. And maybe you could argue, maybe I could use a for loop to do so, but in the real sense, using a for loop will still be much more code than using kariBegin. So kariBegin gives you a better and a cleaner syntax, because you just have to pass an array of pins in which you want to initialize. And so the question comes, what if I have a number of pins which I want to initialize as output, and maybe a number of pins which I want to initialize as input? What happens to that? Worry no more. kariBegin is able to handle that in its own core feature. Now, kariBegin takes two parameters, of which the second one is optional. Now, let's say for the first scenario, you want to initialize your pins as an output pins. So, initializing them as output pins, you just have to pass the first parameter, which is the array of pins. And under the hood, kariBegin will initialize them and set them as output pins. Now, you have another set of pins which needs to be initialized as input. For that, you have to pass a second parameter to kariBegin, which is a boolean value, which you have to pass as true. And basically what you are telling kariBegin, I want you to initialize these pins and I want you to initialize them as input. And most of the times you don't have even to initialize your pins as input, because by default the Arduino pins or most of the board pins are inputs. But just if you have a case which you want to be sure your pins are initialized as inputs to avoid any errors, then kariBegin can do that by just specifying the second parameter as true, and there the pins which you pass will be initialized as input pins. So there you are.